Hey, here's your cheat sheet for July 22nd. Remember, this goes hand in hand with the physical cheat sheet. Give you some quick hitters here. First, received a question from a listener who really is concerned about what to believe. She saved some money in her 401k plan. She's been aggressively investing in her 401k and trying to build up some savings. And she's really worried about what to believe. She's worried about losing money. So preserving capital and understanding what's going on is important. In this particular situation, she said that you read online, you see about the dollar maybe collapsing, and that you should buy gold and silver to combat that. And she worries about how all this is going to end up affecting her and her savings going forward. Well, the first thing to take a step back, if you're in a 401k plan, I would advise that you end up having this conversation directly with a financial advisor that should be made available to you based upon your plan's administrator. Remember that gold and silver are not directly tied to the US dollar and haven't been. Silver never really has, even though once upon a time you could redeem some notes for silver. The dollar hasn't been backed by the gold standard since the 1970s. And so gold and silver don't necessarily go in lockstep with the dollar. Now, on the dollar itself, there's some better news. With the expectation that the Federal Reserve will stop quantitative easing, aka money printing, later this year, the dollar is actually strengthened. In fact, it's at multi-year highs against several currencies like the Australian dollar. And so the dollar has been getting stronger, not weaker of late, and as long as the Fed stops printing money, it should be as stable as the United States is, which, by the way, with a smaller budget deficit this year than last, we are actually making mild progress in the right direction even on that front. So knowledge is power. Talk to your plan's administrator, and otherwise you're doing the right thing by building up your 401k account. Let's do some quick hitters here. Potential for good news for stock and investment people generally with regard to the earnings season, while we see that revenue is still a problem. If you wonder why earnings continue to rise and why we don't see big jobs gains at many large companies, here's part of the reason. We are in the early stages of the earnings season so far, and what we've seen is that revenue on average is down just under 2% year over year. That's not good news at all, right? But we do see that earnings are up about 4%. And that's why you continue to see, in part, some of the fundamental picture for companies and stocks improve on the fundamental earnings basis, while overall revenue is not strong enough to support more hiring. We need to get revenue up if we want to see the overall expansion of this economy really occur the way we'd like to see a healthy recovery. So which of the mobile plans is a good deal, the best deal? We've seen many different types of mobile plans released here the past couple of weeks, from the T-Mobile plan, the AT&T plan, the Verizon plan. And the Verge technology site did a very good job comparing them, and what they found out was consistent with what I had found out, which is the T-Mobile Jump is the cheapest overall over the course of a couple of years of use. It'll cost you around $2,500 to use it for two phones, whereas the AT&T program, next, it's up at about $3,600, and Verizon's between the two at about $3,000. So if you want that full service effect, Verizon's plan is probably the best. If value is important to you, the T-Mobile Jump is probably the best. How about spectacular gains of miles per gallon? We're about to get that with the next generation hybrids, and I'm not talking about just a pure electric car that you try to get those mile per gallon equivalents. What about an actual fuel-based car that is also a hybrid? Volkswagen has just released an XL1 in Europe, not for production yet, but they do have one produced that was road tested. And here's what they found: 261 miles per gallon. It's a diesel plug-in hybrid. 261 miles per gallon. It gives you an idea about the staggering gains we're going to make in fuel efficiency over the next couple of years. So if fuel efficiency is certainly important to you, and you can hang on for a couple more years, you'll likely be rewarded with some pretty neat technology and greatly increased miles per gallon. Apple's Map app could go from a weakness on the iPhone 5 to a strength by the time we get to the next generation iPhone. They ended up buying a company that pulls in information that's location-based. Not only that would improve the existing app, but it pulls in the latest information. So if a business is closed, it's not going to take you there at any time of day. If there's a cost to parking where you want to park, it'll pull that information in. So it's comprehensive, not only about how to get from A to B, but what B is once you get there. And this is something that could really help Apple stand out from the crowd, which they need in their Map app, given that that was one of the shortcomings, according to many, in the iPhone 5. And how about the top 10 hospitals for value and for the overall outcome? Did you know that the difference in a knee or hip replacement could be $200,000 and the outcome could be better with the cheaper place? That's true. The folks at NerdWallet have sampled hospitals around the country. Check out the physical cheat sheet and see just what a difference the value and the outcome could be based upon the hospital that you choose. And do your homework. For the complete cheat sheet, go to the physical cheat sheet, and otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow.